Hello, good evening. You're watching Pawnee TV English News. This is Zotan Pui presenting you the news in detail. Chief Minister N. Biren Singh today distributed e-cart waste collection vehicles to various urban local bodies of the states at the Solman function organized by Department of MAHUD, Government of Manipur at City Convention Center in Imphal. The vehicles were procured under the project management of solid waste of regional basis in Manipur under NLCPR scheme founded by the Ministry of Donor. The total cost of the project is 13.52 crore. The Department of MAHUD is the implementing agency of the project. 75 e-carts were given to 7 urban local bodies, ULBS, Thobal Municipal Council, Lilong Municipal Council, Yeripok Municipal Council, Wanjing Lamding Municipal Council, Sikong Sekmei Municipal Council, Andro Municipal Council and Herok Municipal Council.
Local government municipality amount of yum the house to house Konkalakanda, petrol send up the send Makolo, Madugi, Kaino, Madugi Taugi, Maman, Adagi, noise pollution, Adagi, smoke, Micro Topa, Mayam the control Tonova 75 Sum Makalgi, battery, Rentoba, Makangini, Donor Ministry Makada. Tawani aduna masi na yum the sanga kana khomdorini khomakada khigi center woriba thawal ge de leiba khigi solid waste management gi da poraga maduri compact oraga degradable gradable ani du maima gi thalogi matungini sena doini aduna haiba ngasi piri basina yam sauna manipur da ecologically environmentally yam sauna economically sumathing pangani haidana lawya.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has taken stock of the flood situation in Assam that has affected 21 districts of the state thus far. This was informed by Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma on Tuesday morning. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi telephoned him on Tuesday morning and inquired about flood situation. Chief Minister Sarma also said that the Prime Minister has assured all help to Assam to combat this menace. With the flood situation in Assam deteriorating further, as many as 153 forest camps in Kaziranga National Park, KNP, are now reeling underwater. There are a total of 223 forest camps in the Kaziranga National Park. Moreover, according to the report, one forest camp in the KNP has been vacated due to the rising water level. However, no loss of humans or animal lives have been reported from the Kaziranga National Park thus far. Meanwhile, the flood situation in the KNP deteriorating at the rapid pace. The Assam government has issued advisories for movement of heavy vehicles along the stretch of National Highway 37 that traverse through the animal corridors in the Kaziranga. The authorities of the Kaziranga National Park in Assam have also started issuing time cards to vehicles to regulate traffic in animal corridors along the National Highway 37 in Kaziranga. The flood situation in Assam turned critical with 2% death and more than 3.63 lakh people in 21 districts affected, according to the Assam State Disaster Management Authority. Mizoram on Tuesday reported 1,157 new COVID-19 cases, the highest single-day spike after July 25th, pushing the state tally to 59,119, an official said. At least 219 children and 31 Jawans of Border Security Force (BSF) were among the newly infected people, he said. Aizawl district reported the highest fresh cases at 679, followed by Champhai district at 101 and Kolasib district at 88. He said the single day positivity rate was 8.32% as the fresh cases were detected from 13,040 samples, he said. With the 1,157 fresh cases, at least 45 persons per 1,000 population based on the total population according to 2011 census have been infected with COVID-19, the official said. Mizoram now has 9,107 COVID-19 active cases, while 49,798 people have recovered from the infection, including 358 on Monday. At least 214 people have succumbed to the infection so far. The COVID-19 surge is almost under control in most of India, with the pace of vaccination increasing and the number of coronavirus infection declining. However, the possibility of a third wave can't be ruled out at some states. UTs like Kerala and Maharashtra have been showing an increasing trend in COVID-19 cases. India reported more than 2.9 lakh new coronavirus infection in the week ended August 29. A 32 rise in the number of the COVID-19 cases over the previous week. With the coming festive season, the challenge to restrict the COVID-19 spread is going to be tougher. Kerala remains a concern. The southern state alone contributed 66% to India COVID-19 tally. The number of new coronavirus infection in India has been hovering around 30,000. However, it has shown an upward trend for the past few days. With the country reporting more than 40,000 cases, India reported 42,909 new coronavirus infections in the last 24 hours, taking its overall COVID-19 tally to 3,27,37,939, while active cases registered an increase for the 5th consecutive day according to the Union Health Ministry data on Monday. With 380 fresh fatalities, the COVID-19 death toll has climbed to 4,38,210. The ministry said the number of the COVID-19 active cases in the country has increased to 3,76,324 and now accounts for 1.15% of the total infection. The Indian Council of Medical Research has recently predicted the third wave could hit the nation anywhere between September and October. However, it could be less severe than the second wave. The ICMR said, adding the third wave may rear its head to states. UT remove COVID restriction prematurely. Now let's have a short break.
Kaidurino, kanano, kaigino, kaidubio, masipumna. Noi lebede gari ahan maga tongmang ngamdrone. Khura laga tongni khaliba namai di kaidro.
Sembun putoga leibidi ngamdra.
Sembun putokna leiba ngamdrasu Imphal Finance ta salo. Ai jo ahan ba lei ngamdana Imphal Finance ta ge loan oine lori.
Imphal Finance na lombu manung de gari loan lobu ya putong chaba pijeri adom la pam mo khali gari pudima lobu be ya.
Welcome back after the break. The Extrajudicial Execution Victim Families Association and Human Rights Alert released a report submitted by the Kwakkaitel Akham Lekai Firing Injury Commission headed by the retired District and Session Judge C. Upendra on Sunday. The inquiry commission report was released on the occasion of the 23rd death anniversary of Major Shingrengam Saizia held at Pahare Park, Mantripukri, as per a joint release issued by EEV, FAM and HRA. It said that on August 29, 1998, a team of Rapid Action Police Force, popularly known as Police Commandos, led by then Sub-Inspector Krishna Tombe Singh, killed 5 innocent persons, namely Major S. Saizia and Hidam Buddha Singh from Manipur and Rukoshel Tuvoshel Cheksang and Kiketo Sema from Nagaland. Fortunately, former Speaker of Nagaland Tenucho Cheksang survived the gruesome incident despite sustaining severe bullet injuries to tell the story of the incident. The release added, it said that in order to establish the truth behind the incident, the Manipur government promptly constituted a judicial commission prescribed by late C. Upendra, and after a true, open and judicious process, the report was finally submitted to the state government on January 15, 1999. But it was never placed before the cabinet or the state assembly as required by the law. Even attempt by curious citizens to obtain copy of the report through RTI application were summarily rejected. The joint release mentioned later, the Supreme Court in 2017 directed the CBI to investigate the incident along with 38 others, and accordingly, CBI registered a case of murder against some personnel of Rapid Action Police Force of Manipur Police. The release further stated, in June 25, 2020, the CBI submitted the FR to the case and charged Krishna Tombi and 5 others for offense under Section 302, read with 34 IPC. It said, unfortunately, the state government has not granted prosecution sanction under 197 of the CRPC, and therefore the case has not proceeded for more than 1 year, it further stated. CBI has filed supplementary charge sheet on August 25th, it said. The SFURT project under MSME and Implementing Agency, Development and Relief Department, Rongmei Naga Baptist Association, RNBA, and Nodal Agency IIE Guwahati, along with Technical Agency SchoolNet India Limited, handed over machineries to Gaito Producer Company Limited of cane and bamboo-based furniture and utility product cluster during a function at the whole of Agroecological Resource Center. CFC Longmei Per 2 today, SDC Noni, Gangmei Village Chief Dimong Rongmei Secretary DRD, artisans and other officials ended the function.
Cane and bamboo furniture and utility products. Kasi ang pata.
All India Youth Federation AYF extended best wishes to Manipur Young Pioneers Organization AMYPO on its 41st Foundation Day. Virtual celebration of the Foundation Day was held in different parts of the state. AMYPO was founded by AIYF on August 31st, 1980 at BT Road in Infal. Since its inception, the organization has given working hard to enliven the spirit of youngsters and encourage them to take role on social issues to serve the people. Angry at transfer of the teacher amid the problem of teacher shortage facing CI College, the CI College Student Union along with civil society organizations and local clubs of Bishnupur have threatened to call a total shutdown in Bishnupur district on 3rd of September if the government fails to fulfill the long pending demands by 2nd September. The union said it is unhappy over the allegedly indifferent attitude shown by the Manipur government over the issue. K.H. Nabakumar Singh, member ICAR Society New Delhi, handed over 500 orange and lemon saplings to the farmers of Hautak Awang Leikai of Kumbi constituency today. K.H. Nabakumar also planted the saplings on the occasion and thanked the Horticulture and Soil Conservation Department for providing the saplings.
थाननबगीदमक्ता अखोइना आरिबोजा सिना अखोइगी लौमी सिंगीदमक्ता कोमला अमदि संप्रा पुबिरतुना आरिबा हौता ओंग लेकाइस्ता लौमी सिंगा कोमला अमदि संप्रा यंथोकपीदुना आरिबा लौमी सिमिना कोमला संप्रा थारस्तेस्ता अखोइ हवाई हक्सांग यावना आरिबा ओजासिन होना बिबगीदमक अखोइ आरिबा ओजासिबु हन्ना अगतसरी लोइना ओजासिना कुंबी
Luangsambam United Clubs organization LUCO has expressed heartfelt gratitude to the N. Biren Singh government for upgrading Shrivan High School. Luangsambam to a higher secondary level, LUCO General Secretary Y. Santosh Singh stated that this move will facilitate admission of maximum number of students for higher secondary education in the area.
Second third pukhutpasi yamna matik chaba amani hainingi maramde khoi sumda leita laira mayam asi khoi school tamningai secondary gi thakta leita bagi yamna awaba do handak saka asina manipur saka asina sugumba secondary higher secondary thakta pukhutpasi da khoi manipur government bu ikai khuna baga loina na thaka saba makha mahaki minister amadi makhoi concern government bu thaka saba phongdok seri.
The All Manipur Women's Voluntary Association, along with Poirei Leimarol, Meira, Paibi, Apunda, Manipur, and All Manipur United Clubs, organization Amuko continued distribution of the rice to the improvised hit hurt by the COVID-19 pandemic. Rice was provided to over 378 families of different villages in Kangpokpi, Imphal East and Imphal West. Amoava President Yamkhan Bam Kunjarani, Poirei Leimarol Meira Paibi Apunda Manipur General Secretary Thongam Apabi Leima and Amuko President Peiroijam Nanda Luwang were present at the event. The organization said that they will continue with the free rice distribution to the poor and needy people of the state. Two Bangladesh nationals were killed on Monday when the border security forces troopers opened fire on them when they tried to cross over from the neighboring country to India. The BSF shot dead the duo when they tried to sneak into India through the non-fenced border at Changram Banda under Maklunj police station at West Bengal's Coach Bihar. They were identified as Yonya Ali and MD Sagar, reportedly from Bangladesh Padgram. According to the local sources, the BSF has tightened its hold on the border area to tackle cattle smuggling. A 20-year-long bloody Afghanistan war has come to an end, with the United States completing its evacuation from the war-ravaged country. The U.S. Central Command announced the total withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan has been completed. The final flight left at 19:29 GMT Monday, just before the start of Tuesday in Kabul. Kenneth McKenzie, commander of U.S. Central Command, said the withdrawal came before the end of August 31st, the actual deadline set by the President Joe Biden to calm time on America's longest war, one that ultimately claimed the lives of more than 2,400 U.S. service members. The evacuation flights have taken more than 123,000 people out of Kabul airport, according to McKenzie. Meanwhile, the Taliban is congratulating Afghan on their victory on Tuesday. Hours after the last U.S. troops left the country, the media reported added, the U.S.-led forces invaded Afghanistan in 2001, soon after the 9/11 massacre, and overthrew the then Taliban administration. The U.S. had spent approximately $2.26 trillion on the world and nation building in Afghanistan over the past 2 decades, or an average of over $300 million per day. The Taliban held full control of Kabul's international airport on August 31st after the last U.S. plane left its runway, marking the end of America's longest war and leaving behind the now quiet airfield. The United Nations Security Council, under the current presidency of India, on August 30, 2021, adopted a resolution on the situation in Afghanistan demanding that the war-torn country not to be used to threaten or attack any nation or shelter terrorists. The resolution was put forward by the US, the UK, and France. Javelin thrower Sumit Antil has secured the second gold medal for India at the ongoing Tokyo Paralympics. Sumit Antil won the gold medal in men's javelin at the Tokyo Paralympics, setting a new world record of 68.55 m in the 564 category. Another Indian thrower, Sandeep Chowdhury, finished fourth in the event with a best man throw of 62.20 meter. Meanwhile, Australia Michael Burain won the silver medal and Sri Lanka Dulan Kotidwok took home for the bronze medal. Earlier, shooter Avani Lekhara scripted history by becoming the first Indian woman to win gold at Paralympic. On the other hand, Duvendra Jahajra and Sundar Singh Gurjar won the silver and bronze medals respectively in the men's javelin final. India has already registered its best ever haul at the Paralympic Games with 7 medals under its kitty. Now the top news stories once again. Thank you for watching Pawnee TV. Keep watching for more updates.